Hello and welcome to this Beam Me Out video for English Language Paper 1 Question 5. You'll remember that this question is the narrative or descriptive writing question. For this video you will need your English companion and you will need to locate the right page of your mental model to answer this question. So please make sure you have your companion with you ready for the session to start. I'd advise that you pause the video at this moment, making sure you have your companion, it's open to the right page for the mental model, and that you have your note paper ready as well. With every video we start with a reminder of our question order and timings for each question. So the question we're looking at today is question 5, which is our 40-mark question for this exam, and it'll be the question that you start with. If you remember, we go question 5, question 4, question 2, question 1 and question 3 for this exam in order to maximise as many marks as possible. So for this question we'd be spending around 45 minutes, including time to plan and then write and then edit our work. So if we take 5 minutes for planning, then 5 minutes for checking our work at the end, that leaves us 35 minutes for our sustained writing. Okay, and what you'll see here is a copy of the mental model from your companion. So if you make sure this is in front of you now as we track through and we detail the key to success for language paper 1 question 5. Firstly, you'll see that this question is asking you to write a narrative or a description suggested by the prompt or the image on the exam paper. In box D you'll see some tips. So the key to success is detailed description. In the question it will say suggested by, and that is key. The image is simply to inspire you. How you interpret the image will be unique to you. So do not get hung up describing what you see in the picture. Use it as a springboard to generate a big idea or a big concept. Say a lot about a little. Description and crafting is more important than plot. Use a wide range of methods, vocabulary, punctuation, paragraphs and sentence types. A key reminder here is to make sure as well that you don't forget about your upgraded sentences. Then try and get your writing to have a big idea or a message. Many of the literature texts you've studied for GCSE have a purpose or message. So for example, Priestley, his big message was about social responsibility. Dickens gave us a big message about poverty in Victorian society. What message do you want your writing to convey to the reader? So if we now go to box E, you can see our approach. So the first thing you'll do is you'll read the question and you'll make notes of your big idea. So what are you using your writing? What message are you using it to deliver to your reader? Spend 5 minutes planning your ideas using the 7-paragraph plan, which is in box F. Then spend 5 minutes at the end proofreading your work for errors, so spelling, grammar and punctuation. Use some upgraded sentences, so around 3 throughout your piece. Ensure you include an extended metaphor in your piece, so that could be war, religion or hunting, for example. In box F you'll see a reminder of the structure, so for the 7-paragraph plan. So you drop in. So your first paragraph will introduce the setting or introduce the weather. You may use pathetic fallacy to create a positive or negative tone. You'll then zoom in and you'll introduce a character. For paragraph 3, you'll introduce some kind of issue or event for that character. Paragraph 4 will be a short, simple sentence that is deliberately short and simple to show a shift or change in your piece. Number 5 is a flash, so flashback, so show an event in the past or it could be the future, so flash forward, that helps the reader to understand your character. Number 6, show the outcome of the issue or event, so how does it impact your character? And then 7 is your last paragraph, so you'll end your piece with a cyclical structure, so you'll return back to something that you introduced in the drop. So for example, if the sun was coming out in the beginning, the sun might be setting at the end. If a storm was beginning or brewing at the beginning, the storm might come to an end at the end of your piece. Really establishing that change. So if it started hopeless, is there now hope at the end of your piece? I'd expect you to be writing around 2 sides in the exam. So if you wrote a side and a half, absolutely fine. If you wrote 2.5 sides, absolutely fine. But shouldn't be having pieces that are 6 or 7 pages long in the exam, because it's all about crafting. That is our key to success. Okay, so what you'll see here is we have an example exam question. So this is how it will look in your mock exam and in your real exams as well. So you'll see your school or college is asking students to contribute some creative writing. Okay, so key there is creative writing. So it's imaginative writing for its website. Write a story about a magical world as suggested by this picture. Okay, so again, it's suggested by the picture. The picture does not need to be described literally. You could use it metaphorically to represent a bigger idea. Or, so remember, it's either or. So the next option is to describe a place you think is beautiful. Again, that could be literal or metaphorical. So it could represent a place in somebody's mind, for example. The more creative, the more imaginative, the more purposeful, the greater your success will be. Then it says 24 marks for content and organisation. So what you actually write, how you craft, how you organise your ideas. And then 16 marks for technical accuracy, so spelling, punctuation and grammar. And then 40 marks in total. Going for a grade 7+, okay, you may include a motif in your piece, so plan to include a motif, so recurring image or idea that has symbolic significance. Plan to include an extended metaphor, so war, religion or hunting, and then do not forget your upgraded sentences. So for example, more, it isn't, it is, less, less. They are all on your 100% sheet, which is at the front of your companion if you want to pause and remind yourself of potential extended metaphors and remind yourself of your upgraded sentences. Okay, so what we've got here is a reminder of the 7-paragraph plan, which you should be using in the exam prior to writing your piece for question 5. You should make sure that you plan to drop, zoom, issue, short, flash, outcome, end. Okay, so you should use that 7-paragraph plan as a clear structure, a purposeful structure to plan your successful response in the mock exam and in the real exam. Okay, so just make sure you've noted the 7-paragraph structure, and then what we're going to do next is have a look at how we can use that to plan around the picture, and then we'll have a look at an example answer. Okay, so what you'll see here is we have some planning in action. So in your exam, you need to make sure that you use that 7-paragraph plan to decide the direction and the purpose of your writing before you put pen to paper in terms of writing that 40-mark response. There needs to be some planning. So here this student has used the drop, zoom, issue, short, flash, outcome, end structure, and they've decided that their piece, the idea, the message, the purpose of it is to explore family relationships. So the student is going to drop in and focus on the weather, and they're going to establish that the mood and the tone is positive. Then they're going to zoom in and they're going to introduce us to a girl walking in the open countryside. Then they're going to introduce an issue for the girl walking in the countryside. And the issue is that she's been invited to meet her estranged father, so a father she's not seen for a long time. The short paragraph is going to be that she froze. Okay, so the reason why that is a short paragraph by itself is because it breaks that positive, optimistic tone that was established through the setting and the weather in the opening. Then there's going to be a flashback in time, and we're going to realise that the reason for that is because the girl was abandoned by her dad. The outcome is going to be that she meets with her father and she feels better. And then the end, because of that successful meeting with her father, the weather is even more optimistic. Okay, by returning to the weather, you can see it's the same as what was established in the drop, So we started with the weather, we finished with the weather, creating that cyclical structure. You can see in the piece there's going to be a motif, and the motif is going to be healing and renewal. So there's going to be repeated references to nature, such as the sun, the breeze and the sky, to represent the healing of the girl. The extended metaphor is going to be linked to Ella's emotional journey. Okay, so there's going to be an extended metaphor of unraveling and weaving, and that's going to represent the relationship she has with her father. It's going to be described like it's a piece of fabric or thread, and it's being unravelled and then woven back together. So those continual references to fabric, unravelling and weaving represent Ella's relationship and emotional journey as she reunites with her father. Okay, so what you've got there is an example of some really successful planning. So what I advise you do at this moment is pause the video and use the structure to plan your own response. Okay, so what you'll see here now is you have an example of what a good one looks like. So we've got it broken down into drop, zoom, issue, and then that short, simple sentence, and then you'll see the rest of the description is written on the next slide. As I'm reading through now, what I want you to really focus on is the detail in the description. Okay, so rather than just saying the sun blazed through the sky, that detail, that description of the weather goes that little bit further. You'll see different bits highlighted in bold, which represent the use of the extended metaphor and the motif throughout the piece. So the sun blazed through a cloudless sky, its golden warmth melting in the morning frost, clinging stubbornly to the emerald blades of grass. Like the first brushstroke on a blank canvas, the light spread across the earth, coaxing life from the cold, untouched soil. A soft breeze carried the scent of wildflowers and the sound of distant birdsong, weaving a melody of optimism into the day. Nature seemed to hum with life, as if celebrating something unseen, a quiet, invisible transformation unfolding. The day was a symphony of renewal, each note a promise of things to come. Okay, so we've really got the start of that motif there. So that idea of renewal and of healing. And you can see the detailed description of the weather, so the sun blazing through the sky, nature humming with life, the reference to the transformation unfolding, all representing the fact that Ella is about to reunite with her father, that optimistic tone. Okay, so then we zoom in on Ella. So Ella trudged up the winding forest path, her boots scuffing against loose gravel, her backpack sagged with weight. Yet her shoulders carried a different kind of burden, the ache of unanswered questions. She gripped a folded letter in her hand, its edges worn from anxious fingers. The paper crumpled like an old, unresolved story she couldn't stop reading. Okay, so we've got our reference there to the old, unresolved story she couldn't stop reading. So continuing with our extended metaphor. The idea as well of Ella trudging up the winding forest path, her boots scuffing against the loose gravel, her behaviour there, the introduction to her, the reference to that different kind of burden, all foreshadowing the events that are about to come with her father, creating that reader interest. Okay, so now we're going to find a little bit more out about the issue or event. So the letter, written in hurried scrawls, had arrived that morning, an invitation to meet her estranged father at the old family cabin, a place she hadn't set foot in since childhood. Doubts swirled in her mind, each thought a shadow clouding the path ahead, and each step forward felt heavier than the last. Okay, so again, foreshadowing that significant event that's about to unfold for Ella. So that reader interest is really sustained. She froze. Okay, so you'll see that she froze is a short a short two-word sentence deliberately to show that change in direction, that something is about to happen now, which is of great significance to our character. Okay, so the motif in this passage is healing and renewal, represented by elements of nature such as the sun, the breeze and the sky. These symbols reflect Ella's internal journey towards reconciliation with her father and the emotional transformation she's undergoing. The recurring imagery of light, warmth and the wind helps reinforce the idea of healing after a long period of emotional coldness and silence. Okay, so the motif, the reoccurring symbol in the piece and what it's being used to represent. The extended metaphor, so the continued use of metaphors. So an extended metaphor is a metaphor that continues throughout your piece. It's a comparison of Ella's emotional journey to the process of unravelling something and weaving. Her relationship with her father is described as fabric or thread being unravelled and then woven back together. This metaphor conveys how the misunderstandings and emotional distance between them are slowly being addressed and repaired, with each conversation or action like a stitch that begins to restore the bond. The metaphor suggests healing is gradual and requires effort, just as fabric is created through repeated weaving. Together, the motif and extended metaphor intertwine to emphasise the themes of restoration and transformation, both in nature and in Ella's personal experience. So just pause for a moment and think about what is your motif, what is your extended metaphor, and how does it link to the purpose, the intention behind your writing. The most successful pieces of descriptive writing in the exam will be ones that have a clear writer's intention, which is reflected through the language and the imagery that's been chosen. Okay, so just a reminder that the key to success is detailed description. Suggested by is key. The image is simply to inspire. I'm sure you've realised that the key to success is saying a lot about a little. Description and crafting is most important. Using a wide range of methods, vocabulary, punctuation, paragraphs and sentence types are the key to success. And having a clear idea, a clear message, a clear intention behind your writing will stand you in good stead of achieving a brilliant mark in the exam. As always, we wish you a huge good luck in your exams. We know that you're going to be absolutely brilliant and we hope that you found this revision video incredibly useful. Well done, and again, huge good luck to you.